Okay, so now we are moving on to activity B, and we're going to combine this audio with question 1 and 2. So, in the last part, we looked at natural selection, which happens naturally, right? Nobody had any involvement in it. It happened due to mutations, and those mutations were either beneficial to the bug, was bad for the bug, right? It was a negative effect, or it didn't have any effect at all. Okay. And so those that survived were able to reproduce and pass on their genes. Okay. Now, artificial selection, though, is when human beings decide that they want a specific quality in something, right? Maybe they want bigger apples, so they cross pollinate two trees that have freakishly big apples or something, or like we did with dogs, right? All dogs started out as wolves, and we decided that, oh, we need something to go chase those rats in the barn. And so we took the dogs that maybe not, for some reason were running after rats, and they would breed them together. And that's how rat terriers were bred. That's why we have that. That's why we have that breed now. Doberman Pinschers and German Shepherds are used as guard dogs. We have sheepdogs, right? And guess what they do? They herd sheep. And so somebody at some point said, "Oh, that dog likes to keep the sheep under control, right?" And so, and so does that one. So they would take a male and a female, they would breed them, hoping that their babies would have the same qualities. And lo and behold, very often they did. And that's how they breed animals today. And so you're going to breed those bugs. You need to figure out what kind of bug you want. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the gizmo again. Please make sure that it is artificial selection. And we're going to change the mutation rate to 2, which means that it's going to mutate twice as fast. Okay? And so then you need to pick what color you want to see. And I'm going to pick cyan. I like that greenish blue color. You could put any of those colors. Remember, the colors that are available are these. Okay? So you could theoretically pick any of them, right? All right. So now we're going to go back in here. Make sure you type it in. Okay, so now the next part is, how the heck are you going to do this? We're going to do this for 5 times, okay? So you need to come up with a plan before we do that. So you're going to pause this audio if you're listening to it and answer each of the questions. So you're going to follow the directions on the gizmo, which show up down here, by the way, okay? And the first question is, how would you describe the process of artificial selection? All right. Use whatever materials you want. We want them in your own words. If you feel that you need to go and watch a brain pop or rewatch an Edpuzzle that you saw, that's okay. How will mutations be useful in achieving your goal color, right? So you had to pick a goal. How are you going to do that? Because I'm going to tell you right now, everybody starts with 2 chromosomes that are white, 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 and white, white, white. Right? The only way you're going to get a different color is if a mutation occurs. Once you have organisms that have the mutations, then you can combine them. But until then, all right? And so what strategy will you use to produce insects of your desired color? All right? So we're going to go through here, and you have to run it through 5 generations. Remember, artificial selection, and we doubled the mutation rate. And it says, drag breeding pairs to the alcove. So what I want you all to see is that no matter which one you press on, the genotype and the phenotypes are all exactly the same. They are all WWW, which is white, white, white. That's one of their chromosomes, and the second chromosome is the same. So at this point, it doesn't make any difference what bugs, they're calling it the alcoves, right? Like a nest. Over here, doesn't matter which ones you combine them with, because they're all exactly the same. Okay, so now it says drag 10 unwanted bugs to the trash can. Okay, so remember, the ones with the circles have mutated. I am looking for cyan. So green, nope. Red, nope. Neither one of these 2 things are going to help me, Because remember, we're not blending colors. We need to have the cyan gene in order to have cyan, okay? So we need to get rid of some of these bugs. The rest of these are all white. I'm going to check to make sure as I dump them, though. Should do that first. But I can kind of tell by looking at them. But with my luck, there'll be a cyan one in there. Nope, there is not. Okay, so we're going to get rid of these guys. You can actually do it as you click on them to drag them anyway. Okay, so that is, how many bugs do I need to get rid of? One more. Okay, so now they're still all white. Let's hope for some mutation, because that's frankly the only way we're going to pull a cyan or your red or black or whatever you want your bugs to be. Okay, average fitness is pretty much the same because we haven't changed much. Right, so that's yellow and that's red. Now these don't mix, and quite frankly, honestly, they all have, as far as we know, the same likelihood of mutating. So it doesn't matter if you mate ones that have the colors or not. I want to start with all white because I want pure cyan. That's just me being picky. Again, they're still all white, so the combination doesn't matter. My 2 mutations so far hasn't helped out my cyan color beetles. And I'm on generation 4. Jeez, oh man. Not 1 mutation. That means they're all white. Get rid of them. Okay. Have to get rid of them. You can only have 10. Doesn't matter which ones you get rid of. Except I lose count. 9, 10. There we go. All right. Let's try this again and hope for a mutation. This is my last try. If not, I would have to keep going, right? Not 1 stinking cyan. Okay, so now what strategy will you use to produce insects of your desired color? Well, guess what? My plan didn't work. So what would I have to do? I'm not going to give you the answer because you might have to do the same thing. What would you have to do? Okay, 5 generations didn't do it. And I'm going to leave it at that. And then we'll move on to the next part. So make sure you answer these in full sentences and make sure that it makes sense when you read them out loud. Again, if it doesn't make sense to you, it will not make sense to us.